If you struggle with different softwares to back up your files, this video is for you. We're introducing a powerful tool that makes it super easy. Let's get started. Today we're using Kopia, a free open source app that works the same on Linux, macOS, and Windows. That means you can restore your backed up files on any PC with top-tier encryption for safe and secure backups. First, head over to this URL, download Kopia, and install it. There are two ways to use Kopia. The first one is the command line interface, which I don't recommend for simple users. And the second one is Graphical User Interface, which is much easier to use. So in this video, we're going to use that one. After launching the program, you'll see this screen. Here we have snapshots, policies, tasks, repository, and preferences. We're going to check them one by one. First, when you open Kopia, it asks you to create a new repository. A repository is basically the location where you want to store your backups. You can choose between all these options to suit your preference. And in this video, I'm going to use a local directory. So first, you need to create a snapshot. A snapshot is simply the backup you want to make. To create a backup, use the snapshot button. It asks you to enter a path where your snapshots will be saved. I'm going to use my SSD, so I'll save it there for faster performance. Keep in mind that if you're backing up a directory located on another hard drive, not the one where Windows is installed, it's better to save the backup on that drive. The idea behind quality backups in companies is that whenever their main hard drive fails, they still have snapshots on a second or third drive. So for long-term reliability, backing up to two different drives makes sense. But if you're just backing up your system for the next 2 or 3 days, saving it on the same drive as Windows is faster and fine. So once you select the directory where snapshots should be saved, there will be some advanced options. The first one is the snapshot retention. This controls how long your backups are kept. You can choose to retain a specific number of hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or annual snapshots. There's also an option to ignore identical snapshots if no changes were made. Next is file section. You can choose to ignore certain files that you don't want to include in the backup. This includes ignore rules, which we'll explain later, well-known cache directories, or scanned file system errors. Sometimes an error might be present in your backup system, but you don't want to stop the backup from completing. By selecting ignore on these directory or file errors and choosing yes, these options can help with that. So whenever you're backing up a file and an error happened, this will not prevent it from completing. The next section is compression. You can change the compression algorithm from a list of available options. You can also set the minimum or maximum file size, meaning files smaller or bigger than the size you define won't be included in the backup. You can also choose which files to compress based on their file extensions. Next is scheduling. Here you can schedule your backups, how often it should run, or set a specific time of day. You can also use cron expressions. If you don't know what cron expressions are, I've put a link in the description for you to learn more. There is also a really useful option here, run missed snapshots on startup. So if a scheduled snapshot wasn't taken because your PC was off, it will automatically run the next time you start your computer, which is a great feature. The upload section has two settings, maximum parallel snapshots, which controls how many snapshots can be uploaded at the same time, and the file rates. If the hard drive you're backing up to isn't very fast, or if your internet connection is slow, lowering these values can help avoid performance issues. Next, the actions on snapshot section lets you run scripts before or after each snapshot. You can also set timeouts for snapshots. For example, if the script takes too long, Kopia will automatically stop the process. Similarly, in the folder actions section, you can set scripts, timeouts, and comment modes for before and after folder related tasks. There's also a logging option too, useful for advanced users who want detailed logs of their backup actions. At the end, there's a CLI command available, so you can run the same operations via command line if needed. Just click on this icon and you can see the commands. This is useful if you're familiar with the commands used in the Graphical User Interface. Now let's create our first snapshots. Now that you've created a snapshot, you can see what's in it by clicking on its path and then each start time. Here you'll see a list of all the files that are in your snapshot. To delete any snapshot, simply select them and then click on delete. Let's say there's a small change in this text file. When I create another snapshot of this directory, Kopia only backs up the changed file. It keeps track of your files, so with every new snapshot, it only includes what's changed, which is pretty awesome. To restore them on your current PC or another PC, you can simply use the restore option. Now we have the policies option. Policies are similar to the snapshot options we looked at earlier. Nothing has changed here, except that with policies you can apply them to a specific directory, meaning that directory will follow its own backup rules for error handling, compression, file exclusions, and scheduling or etc., just like with snapshots. The task section shows all completed actions, so you can monitor them and check if any errors occurred during your backups. You can also filter them by clicking on here. And the repository section, as we seen earlier, is basically where you want your backups to be saved. To create a local repository, first enter the path where you want the file to be saved, and then you should set a password for it. And in the preferences sections, you can change the appearance, like switching between dark and light theme, or adjusting the interface size from small to large. You can also customize how data is visually represented. The notifications section allows you to configure alerts using email, pushover, or webhooks. As mentioned, you can use all the GUI features and still have access to the same commands via command line interface. So if you're comfortable with the interface, you can easily switch to the command line using the commands shown here. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more app reviews. See you in the next video.